build my gallows and build them high. Makes a long time climbing before I die. I want the chance.
Hello everybody, welcome to Longbangers. I'm Matty.
I'm Colin. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, yeah, been busy day podding the day of the Twitter Spaces earlier on. That was good. I spoke a wee bit about it on the match. No released it yet onto the podcast player, so I'll do that at some point over maybe the night or tomorrow. But good chat, good bunch that were on. Then we did the match, recorded that straight after, and then we've got this one, and then extra time after this. So busy with day, but it's been good. Other than that, I've been pretty chilled out today. Did a wee bit driving and that. How about you?
My day's been all right. I down to the shops this morning, had a wee Stornoway black pudding and scrambled eggs for my lunch. Lovely.
Nice.
Done the match. Went to the women's game. I'll tell you about in a minute. And then came home for my steak and chips for my tea because it was birthday dinner. Not well, it is, but it's not my birthday yet. But it's my daughter's birthday. So because we're skint, we're just lumping it all in the day because she was here. And Tuesday, when it's my birthday, I'll get fuck all.
Aye, that's the way it should be, yeah.
So aye, prioritising. But I was at the women's game. So
just before you go into that, I'll just tell you about a wee coincidence thing. So as you talking about Stornoway black pudding reminded me, right, on Thursday, I think it was Thursday, might be Friday. So we'll have bacon rolls, right, for breakfast. And I was like, right, that's fine. What I'll do is I'll go and get nice rolls for the newsagent, right? Best rolls are for bacon rolls, newsagent rolls. I think that's well established by now.
Yeah.
And then the bacon, like the best bacon we've tasted in recent years is from the Buffalo Farm, which is in Bog Lily, which is near Puddledub, right? I've not made those place names up. That's what they're actually called. So driving out is to get to the wee farm shop at Bog Lily. It's maybe a 10-minute drive for the house, a wee country road. And as I'm coming along this wee country road, come up behind this transit van, and on the back it had Pie Sports, like the Sky Sports symbol. And I was like, oh, that's quite funny, Ken. Pie Sports, very good, wee butchers or whatever. Didn't think anything else of it. Got the bacon, which was fantastic, by the way.
What kind of bacon is it?
It's just unsmoked back bacon. I think I want to do with it. Just maybe it's the way they cure it, or I think what was wrong with it in the first place, to be fair. But however they cure it, or the quality of life that the pigs had, or whatever, is smashing anyway. It's just dead salted, nice flavour to it. Mm-hmm. Yesterday at St Mirren, at the pie stall, Pie Sports, fucking same logo.
Right.
I'd never seen it before in all my days, and then that's just a wee coincidence. Anyway, right. I'd recommend bacon for Buffalo Farm anyway. That's my takeaway for that one. And Pie Sports should be a thing. Women's game, Colin. You were telling me before I rudely interrupted.
Nice easy win. I think it was expected easy win. We know Glasgow women, not Glasgow City, are the weakest team in the league. I think they're bottom of the league. I don't think they've won any games this season. So me, my wife and my daughter. My daughter was ball girl today, so we were predicting the score on the way down. She said 6-0. I went 8. My wife went 9. So obviously it was got to land and it finished 7. Which I'm claiming is correct because you always round up,
Aye, that's it.
So 7-0 and fairly comfortable. Scored in the first minute. Like it was their keeper done quite well. She kept a few out, made a few saves, but then Hibs scored for the rebounds and stuff like that. Rachel Boyle came on in the second half and scored 2. One with her first touch of the ball, and the second a penalty after Siobhan got absolutely smashed in the tackle and got stretchered off. So it looked quite a bad one. It was only a yellow card. Should have been a red card. It was a proper bad tackle, right on the ankle. She looked in a bit of pain. So hopefully she's not out for too long. And then Rachel scored for the penalty that came from. Shiv came on like, why are they bringing her on? You know what I mean? It was like she came on at about 5-0 up, and you think, why would we bring a centre half on at 5-0 up? You know, it was, or maybe 4-0, but still, the game was done and dusted. You know what I mean? And you think, why are you doing that? But I guess they maybe try to get her appearances up or something, or maybe she gets paid an appearance bonus or something. But it was a horrendous. It looked a horrendous tackle. I've not seen it back on TV yet, but it was dead easy for them. Good win. So, it was all right. Decent crowd there.
Good. Was that at Meadowbank?
I was at Meadowbank, aye.
Right, before we get into the nuts and bolts of the podcast proper, I think we will just extend our best wishes to Ron Gordon. from everybody involved with the podcast. I obviously saw Ron's open letter to the supporters earlier in the week where he let it be known that he's receiving treatment for cancer. So best wishes. Cancer obviously a horrible thing to have to deal with for him and his family. So yeah, we wish you a full and speedy recovery, Ron. I'm sure you're listening.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, getting treatment and thinking what would make you feel better. Stick Longbangers on. Aye. So best wishes anyway. We'll hope to see you back at Easter Road soon. Right, into the talking points, Colin. We obviously recorded the match earlier on, so we covered the game there. If you've not found that, you can get on our YouTube or in podcast players. You'll see it was published earlier on today. It's about 20-25 minutes us chatting through the key incidents in the game, so we'll not cover that now. We'll go through the main talking points. So the first one, Colin, that I want to kind of put to you is probably like it wraps in at how Lee Johnson's been viewed by the support, but the question of have we turned a corner? So we obviously had this horrendous run, and we were all discussing, and not just us, like that Hibs fans, but externally, folk were discussing whether or not Lee Johnson's time was up at Hibs. The Aberdeen game was labelled El Sacchio because there was a view that whoever lost it was going to get their jotters. However, we're on a 5-game unbeaten run now. We're unlucky not to have taken full points on Tuesday night against Ross County because of that ridiculous goal that Ross County had scored. So we could have been looking at a week where we picked up 9 points for 9, conceded no goals, and scored 8 goals.
Yeah.
Looking promising. My concern is we've been here before earlier in the season, and remember us sitting down to record extra time. We were looking at the next 5 fixtures, which I think is more or less the fixtures that we're into the now. On the back of 4 wins on the bounce, thinking we're going to win these games, and the arse just fell out of us. So, have we turned a corner in your view? And if so, what makes you say that? And if not, why not?
I think, I don't know if we've fully turned the corner yet, but I think we've started turning, if that makes sense. Like it's, I don't think we're not definitely can't say we're there yet, because it has been a kind run of fixtures. Because when we say those fixtures, we're excluding the derby, aren't
yes,
we? That 5.
That's it. Yes, it's league only.
So in the league, it's 5. So it is, but this is the period of the season where we had a good run in September-ish, when it was the same run of fixtures, and then the arse fell out straight after it. Because this is because we play Rangers, Celtic, Hearts quite, and even Aberdeen in quite close succession. So we've repeated almost what we've done earlier in the season. What we now need to do is build on it and then fully turn the corner, I suppose. It is quite interesting because, I mean, I was actually looking back through some of the bookmarks this morning. I was trying to tidy it up a wee bit, and I fucking gave up because you've not been removing the bookmarks at all.
Sorry about that.
And I thought I'll try and remove some and tidy it up. And I was reading them again, and I thought, fucking hell, like only a couple of weeks ago, it was very, very get Johnson out, like almost 100%.
Aye.
There was very few dissenters. There was some. I don't want to name names because I can't actually. I might be saying the wrong name, but it would be a positive, like, because they were saying can't keep sacking managers. TG Willis possibly was one of them. And I don't know where I landed on it, but I'm kind of glad we didn't press the panic button again at the moment. Not because I think he's superb and brilliant or anything, but because we've actually almost showed strength by making it, or not making a decision, I suppose. But showing a bit of strength. Aye.
Yeah, by not buckling to the pressure.
Aye, because I think in the past we have buckled, the club have buckled to fan pressure, and the fans are always right. I ken the folk around me talk a lot of shite, and I'm sure they say the same about me. And probably not about me, but you know what I mean. Like
I would say about you, like Andy.
I know, but but you get what I mean. Like folk, there's so many. You need, as I say, go back. It'd be so interesting. Some of them are still there, I think, because I just give up. But you look back at the old opinions and you think, fucking hell, man, that was quite reactionary, I suppose. But now, hindsight, obviously, that's the feeling at the time. That was emotion in that. But take the emotion out of it, win a couple of games. As you say, it should have been 3 clean sheets in the with 2 away wins at hard grounds to go to, and Aberdeen at home, which is a big game, or it was a big game 18 months ago. I don't think it's in the category anymore. I'm not sure, but you know, it's positive signs I'm seeing. I quite like the club have given him the opportunity to clear. I don't like saying deadwood, right? That's what folk are saying, but clear the squad, if you like. Players he could get rid of. The young laddies in on the bench. I know they're trying to put the positive spin on it, but I believe it probably was like at the back of their mind, we need to get these laddies in because they're promising and that, and they just they could have justified it. I was going to try and get them out there, like say they couldn't justify it. They fucking could have justified it and said, well, he's better than what we've got. That's why he's on the bench. But now there's no option really, so they've got to do it. And I think everybody feels better when there's young laddies for the academy and the team or the squad, eh?
I think with the giving them an option or the option to do it, where it becomes difficult is if you've got a big pool of first team players and they're all on first team wages.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to keep, so the wages is one factor, but you actually have to try and keep that group happy as well.
Well, I was going to say that.
Johnson had already alluded to having 2 different sets of players, like one training in the morning, which was his first team, and then another group training at 3 o'clock. So I think that there it was the development team, the first teamers that weren't playing in the first team.
Oh, I didn't know that. I knew guys were training, and that's what I was going to say. The training separately. So then you'd be saying, we'll take the 3-4 young laddies that are the most promising or most likely at a game, and they've got to train with us. But then there's not enough room because your first team squad was that big.
That's
no room. But I didn't realise that there's enough pitches down there that you think they could all be training at the same fucking time. But then the problem you have is you're saying, I don't know, Tavares and some of the Melkerson and the boys he shipped out, going through with the laddies, and they'd be going, whoa, wait a fucking minute, I'm a first team player. You know, so there's that ego thing to do, and they make constructive dismissals, and not quite, but you know, like that, whatever route football go down with that kind of stuff, you're training with the laddies, that some managers do as a can the winner managers, they ones, that like Souness and Keane and all that, they would chuck laddies into they would chuck players into the youth team to piss them off, to drive them out of the club, and that would be the road you'd be going down by doing that.
And I think he'd mentioned that it was hard to keep everybody happy. It was kind of where I was going with that. So you manage the expense. You've got the board saying, by the way, we've spent the money on these guys. Why are you not playing them? But you also have like the potential. And I wouldn't say it happened because I don't know enough about the characters of the players there. But Johnson definitely hinted at it about having a unified dressing room and how it was difficult to do that. He was almost careful not to say explicitly we had folk causing trouble.
Yeah,
but he hinted at it. And having 2 separate groups, so one training in the afternoon, one in the morning, probably didn't help it. So I think having the opportunity to clear the decks a bit and make a smaller squad, have them all training at the same time, gives the opportunity to bond. Ryan from down the slope was talking about spaces earlier on, so it's much easier to get a group of 16, 17 players to bond than it is a group of 30. And that makes sense, it's going to happen. So I think the signs are encouraging for having turned a corner, though. I definitely feel better about the team and about the manager than I did 3 weeks ago. And even the derby, right, the cup game, the performance was all right. Okay, folk didn't like to admit it because it's not important. The result's important. But if you're looking for signs to say, like, we've mentioned it before when Ron Gordon was talking about how he justified sacking Sean Maloney. He said there was no signs of progress, no signs of improvement or anything changing. I think we are showing signs of improving. Even so, we've got a different look to the team, and we'll touch on some of the reasons behind that as we go through. But the fact you've got young players coming in, the fact that we're coping with some injuries, losing this bit, we lost McCurdy there on Saturday. Newell went off injured. We've not had McGuinness available again. Yeah. To still be grinding out results and results in shitty places, or not shitty places so much, but like the shit conditions. Yeah. The last 2 games where the rain's been kind of hammering down and the wind's blowing a gale and everything. To come out
and that was a team above us in the league.
Aye.
Like, as much as folk dismiss St Mirren, they were 6 points behind Hearts on Saturday with a game in hand.
Aye.
Before the game started. And obviously it's Hearts' best ever season in years, as we know. So
living memory. Yep.
So I mean, it was quite was quite a win, really.
Aye. So I would say cautiously optimistic. I don't think I would kill him. I like him like you. I think we're on the corner in a good way around it, but we've been here before, and
We're on the roundabout again.
aye, you couldn't say for certain that the Arse wouldn't fall out us again if we get a bad result on against Kilmarnock on the 18th.
That's
So
what needs to be proved.
Aye, that was my first talking point, Colin. For you, what's your first one?
I think, and I'm interested to see what you think on this. I kind of touched on this, I think, on the match earlier, but I think Jago could be the missing piece in our team defensively. What do you think?
I think it's early days with it because that was his. What did we say when we talked about it? Fourth game, fourth game. I think so. We look more assured. So there's a couple of things that have happened since Jago came in. Is obviously Porteous is gone, and we've gone with Fish and Hanlon centre halves, but also the style of defending and the style of attacking's changed slightly as well. So if you think with Porteous, so pre-Jago, Porteous leaving, we built slowly from the back a lot of the time. I think that frustrated Lee Johnson. I think he wanted us to play forward quicker. We're definitely doing that, and I think Jago, he makes himself available, but he picks up the ball, he tends to knock it forward or give it to somebody to play forward. He doesn't dwell on the ball. I don't think I've seen him taking the ball on a run or just holding the play up. He just wins it. He's very good at the interceptions, reading the game, good in the tackle. I don't think he got booked on Saturday. I think his first game without a booking. And he looks like he's letting Newell and Campbell play. Which we said that about Kenny as well. So again, just maybe it's a defensive midfielder, but he looks very, very competent in that role.
Yeah.
What have you made of him?
No, I think he's. I mean, I don't know how involved he is in the organisation of the defence as well. Because he's given them a safety net in front of them, but they've just looked. And I know they never played together before, so I'm comparing apples with pears. But that defensive unit looks the most solid they've had this season, even when we're on that good run when Kenna played in the team. Because we're not saying, stop the crosses and all that other chat that we're having. We're just it's just, it looks more solid. And it should be 3 clean sheets on the stop since he's came in the team. Well, obviously in the league. So I could be jumping to conclusions. I've seen people saying his passing's not very good and all that. And you know what? Maybe it's not. But I don't think that's his. I don't think everybody can be good at everything. And if he's organising the defence, making them safe, keeping them organised, winning the ball back, taking the booking when he has to, and getting the ball to the good players, happy with that. You need somebody like that in your team. And then you all need to play the World Cup ball. Like we did, and the guy that was playing that position probably most recently before him.
Aye. I think where I notice the difference between Jago and Kenna is the energy in it, the ground that gets covered. He's a very, very busy player. He's always on the move, closing folk down, and just doesn't give folk a minute's peace. Very, very aware of what's around him. And I think maybe that's something that comes with experience. You'd expect Kenna to develop that, assuming he comes back to Hibs and plays next season or competes for that position. I think if Kenna takes his attributes and then adds on the attributes that Jago's got, he could turn into a really good player.
Yeah.
So I think if we keep him fit, it's important because I don't think we've got anybody else that can do what Jago's doing in the squad at the moment.
And it was a massive loss when Kenna didn't play there. I'm not criticising the laddie either.
Aye.
I think when we didn't play with someone in that role who was specialised in it, then it was obvious. But then obviously we found it after that Kenna wasn't specialised in it. He'd only played there a handful of games or 10 games or something. Whereas this is Jago's position. I think you can see that experience compared to what Kenna brought. And Kenna's obviously 10 years younger than him as well, but also played fucking 500 games less than him there.
Aye.
I mean, it is.
I think that goes back to the point we were making, Colin, about why it was wrong to play Porteous in midfield, or why we felt it was wrong, because these roles are specialised, and to play at this level, you need to have that, the games under your belt to know the position. and just chucking somebody who's good at football.
Seen this before. It's just like doing any job, isn't it? Like your job as a manager, you're going, wait a minute. I remember this the last time. They've got to complain about that. I'll get that sorted before it gets to the disciplinary stage. You know, it's just the same principle. I've seen this before. Smell it.
Aye, snip it out. I think that's not even that a saying, but fuck it.
Sniff it
out. Right, the next one, Ellie Ewan. So we had a really positive discussion on on Spaces this morning, and actually this talking point I had in my head before we came on, and I was going to say we need to be doing what we can to nail him down in a contract. Take up the option to buy and make sure we didn't lose out. I think for how these things go, I think my take on it is everything's agreed. So long as we push the button and pay the money, that deal will happen. I think Ewan's already agreed to the terms the deal at Hibs if we go ahead. Similar to Rocky coming, is that we had that sort of loan option to buy. We wanted to buy him and everything. That's what happened. And I'll go with the we wanted to buy him line. So I was all primed to put the talking point to you saying we need to take up that option. And then a tweet came in for a Twitter user called Callum. And I actually read this, and at first I thought it was maybe a bit of a wind-up. I was like, it's not quite a new Twitter account. And I was like, this boy's come on and just he's just trolling here. I went and looked, no offence, Callum, I went and looked at a few of your tweets just to see. And I think he's genuine enough, right? And he's backed up and justified his position, which makes it we believe it is more genuine. So his tweet says, Ellie Ewan holds up the play every time he gets on the ball, goes left, right, backwards, absolutely anything but keep the play moving forward. I think he's rubbish, and his pace and couple of goals has fans deluded. Not suited to the League One bit, and I hope we don't end up stuck with him. So a couple of folk came back, like Lex Lofer said, wow. Jordan Young says, dearie me, how bad of a take is this? Alan Duncan said, I think the opposite. He's good with the potential to be great. He's only going to get better. Remember what Boyle was like when he first came to Easter Road. I think Ewan will be even better. And then Callum came back and said, okay, but can you explain why you think he's good? Assuming we both watch all the games, I've very rarely found him efficient. Quick feet and pace is all I see positive. I think he holds up the ball far too often and never releases the easy options. Open to discuss it though. So I think Callum's handled that conversation well. There's some good disagreement on it to put across. So has Callum got a point that maybe they have these 4 goals 3 goals in 3 games? Has that given a bit of a false impression on Ewan, or are people absolutely right to be as positive as they are about him?
Believe it or not, I'm actually in the middle on it. Because I've seen flashes. I liked him at the start of the season when everybody else felt like they were saying he was shite, and then he was not very good for a wee while, and then recently he's actually started scoring goals, and looked his pace. But see, pace at our league gets you away. It carries. We spoke about it before. Pace in our league kills defenders and it makes you look so much a better player.
Aye.
How much money are we talking about to buy him?
So there's figures getting bandied about 700,000, right? Which is a lot of money for Hibs.
That's a lot of money.
Although I don't know
how longer before we decide to press a button on that one.
I don't know how accurate that figure is though.
Well, that's the thing. So that's what I mean. I'd heard 6 figures. I didn't realise when 6 figures it was that high into the 6 figures. If it's any more than 200, 300 grand, I'm going, we'll just hang on now. If it's 700 grand, I'm definitely not signing him now, and I might not even sign him in the summer.
Aye, because it is a lot of money, but for relatively a lot of money. I know, like there's clubs that wouldn't blink at spending that. Probably like wouldn't notice if you nicked it for them. But for Hibs, the best part of $750,000.
If that's true, but obviously we don't know how much it is, but if it's, I'm putting money on it, and now I'm saying if it's 150 grand, I'd probably just go, aye, fine. As soon as it's getting to 200, 250, I'm going, we'll get another month. And then as soon as it's 500,000, I'm going, end of the season, we'll see how it goes.
Aye.
And it's a maybe.
And I suppose we've got the luxury of doing that as well, which is the beauty of the benefit of the way that the deal was structured to take him on loan. It was, I think Lee Johnson described it as a try before you buy.
And why are folk panicking into saying do it now then if we've got the dibs? Can we be sideswiped on this? Like,
I don't think so.
why wait? Just wait then.
That's it. I don't think we can. I'm trying to think. Canberra had a similar deal, but we had agreed a fee to buy him. I don't think we'd agreed to sign it. It wasn't like we'll take him on loan and we've got an option to sign him. It was we'll take him on loan, and if we want to buy him, that's how much we're going to pay for him.
Aye.
So we didn't have to pay any more than that. Other clubs could come in and bid more money, but our bid had to get accepted, and Canberra wanted to come to Hibs. So that's how we came. But he did have options to go to other clubs. I don't think Yuan's deal structured the same. I think his is if we want him, then he's our player. So we do have the luxury, I think, of taking the time on it. I'm sure somebody will tell me I'm wrong on that, but that's just how I've interpreted it.
Well, I would take my time on it. Unless somebody's saying you need to make a decision right now, and then that would depend on how much they're wanting. If it's right now and it's over 500,000, nah. If it's under 500,000, think about it. 250,000, definitely aye. Between, you know what I mean? That's kind of
yeah. I'd probably say the same. It's worth just making sure that he continues to develop. I mean, I think he's been a different player since the World Cup. Definitely showing what he's capable. He's added goals to his game. His assists, I think he's still highest in the team for assists. So
where Callum might become fair, I agree, because your mate Colin that we mentioned earlier, he was obviously watching the game with us the other night, the Ross County game, and he thinks his touch is shite, and I agree with him. Like his first touch can be, but his pace gets him away with it a lot of the time. His first touch can be erratic, let's say, and I can see that. I can totally see that, and I don't know. Like, you obviously probably work on that to some extent, but if you're already a professional footballer, you wonder. But his touch can be crap. But as I say, if you knock it and bang, if it bangs off you and you chase after it and you catch it, then nobody thinks about it. But if you actually look at the touch, you go, "Fuck it, that's a shite touch." You got away with it.
I think there was a point in the Ross County game where he managed to shoot against his own leg and then fell over. Trying to kind of keep the ball in play.
And
you know,
I
like,
think
so he does have that about him.
There was one when a rebound came to him and he went to almost touch it to the side to go and maybe get a shot away on his left foot, and he just fucking rolled it out for a goal kick. So, and it was just a pure bad first touch.
I
mean, he's obviously got areas to learn, but the point that the guy made about Boyle is right as well. Boyle got better, we developed him and all that. So are we willing to spend a lot of money though to develop somebody? We never spent anything to develop Boyle. In terms of transfer fee.
I think if it came down to put a gun to my head and you say make a yes or a no, are you going to sign him? I would say yes. Now based on what I say, I think he's an exciting player, and I like exciting players. And pace, like you say, pace gets you away with a lot, and it terrorises defences. So,
and it gets fans excited.
Aye, exactly. It's the sort of player that most of us want to see, I think. So, I'll go. He seems to be getting a bit of bond with the fans now as well, which is.
I like him. I liked him for the start. In the first couple of games he played, I thought he was quite impressive. Mind you, I linked up with Boyle in the first game right away.
Aye.
So you've got a bit about him.
Okay, right. Last talking point from us before we go to Twitter ones.
Aye. If it wasn't for the injuries, where would we be? I think that's a song, eh? Was that Billy Connolly that sang that?
It was him. He did it, and then what's his face covered it. Barry Manilow. I had a big hit with it. When Connolly did it, it didn't really kind of get any traction, but Manilow did it, and he played it in Vegas for years. If it wasn't for injuries, where would we be? That was wee piano. I think that was the song that he did anyway. If we're thinking of the same one, I might be thinking of Copacabana. I sometimes get them.
Barry Manilow sang a song about fucking if it wasn't for your wellies.
Aye. All right, what we're talking about? I think injuries. So I think if we'd had clean slate players available from the start of the season, right? So you look at the significant players that we've had missing at various points in the season. Hamlin has been out. Porteous has been out. I think Porteous missed a wee bit with suspension. Rocky, McGuinness, Jake Doyle-Hayes, Martin Boyle, Kevin Nisbet, Aidan McGeady as well, who's only just come back. So there's maybe 8 players there that all would have added significant quality to the team. And particularly forwarders like Boyle, McGeady and Nisbet. Kukrevich, aye. And then McCurdy just getting injured there on Saturday. Obviously, he's not been missing with. Aye, well, I think Newell's was just like a minor knock.
Was it?
I think so, aye. So there's a good team there and good options and dangerous options. So where we had suffered for not being able to score goals, I think we'd have been scoring goals. And the games that have been, like your inverted commas, your fine margin games, I think we would have won those with those players. Like you said, we're only 8 behind Hearts, 8 or 9 behind Hearts.
8, yeah.
8. So it's easy to see where we could have picked up another 8 points in the games that we've dropped points in. Easy.
Yeah. Well, look at that. Like as you say, take it. Some of the ones, right, and just go with some of the injuries. Boyle, Nisbet, Kukrevich. Is that right this time?
Aye, I think so.
Aye. So they 3, right? That's some front line in this league.
Aye.
And then McGeady to back that up, but coming in for the wide angles, like that's just goals.
Aye.
That's what that is, and that's what, like in the fine margins games, they're the match winners, aren't they?
Aye, and they're all capable with that.
And McGuinness, I know, fuck me, he scores goals.
Aye, they're capable of those wee moments of magic in a game as well. Yeah. So even if a game's not going our way, you know, sometimes Boyle can pick up the ball, and 30 seconds later, you're a goal up because he's had a run and a shot. So I think it's like we spoke about. Sure, Jack Ross had a really bad season with injuries, but this is the worst I can remember it. Where it's like really significant match-winning players that have been hampered for weeks and weeks and weeks on end. They've just not been available. And if we'd had them in, imagine if we'd had them for the start of the season. So they come out of pre-season unscathed, and then they have that run of matches to build up our understanding and their fitness and get that match fitness. I think we'd be blowing teams away. I think we've seen it in glimpses when even with the team that we've got now, that we're capable of blowing a team away, like we did with Aberdeen. With those boys in, I think we would have been fairly regularly dishing out some hidings.
You'd like to think we would have picked up a few more points, eh? Like they would maybe I mean, I'm sure other teams will say we've got injuries as well, and I know that the one we're talking about trying to catch are definitely talk about that because they talk about that more often than anything else. But if we just take ourselves into it, and we've definitely got 8 points. I mean, there's 2 thrown away on Tuesday night by the ref.
Yeah.
And then you've got there's fucking silly points dropped at home. Ross County, we should have beat them. St Johnstone, we should have beat them. A goal in a goal for somebody that were one of the ones we're talking about in that game to take us to 1-0 up. Game's done. We've won. We're going 1-2-3-0. And then you're immediately just with those 3 games, that's the 8 points made up.
Aye.
And we're not talking about going and fucking winning at Ibrox or Parkhead or anything. We're just talking about picking up 3 points in games that were dominated.
Aye, that's it. They'd be with a bit of magic. We probably would have won. Okay, right. Going to take us on to talking points as we're kind of nearing the end of the episode. Right, so we've got about 6 minutes left to get through here, Colin. Right, so Gus Polinsky says his opinion on Lee Johnson has changed from sack him to maybe he's all right. If we can finish the season strong and get into that top 4, win a couple of the bigger games in the process, we have an opportunity to kick on for next year. I'm letting myself believe in us again, he says. I think that kind of ties in what we were saying about turning the corner.
Yeah.
Do you think it's safe to say now that because of the recent results, we can put all talk of Johnson getting the sack to bed now? Like that's him until the end of the season.
Oh, I would think so now. They're not going to change him now, are they? Director of football's got to come in eventually. Hopefully well in time to evaluate what we've already got as well before the end of the season. I think Johnson came in the last season and managed to catch a couple of games, remember, but not officially appointed. It'd be good to get the director of football in maybe by the end of April at the latest. So they've got May. Because I think the season goes on to June this year because of the World Cup. I think the Cup final's in like June. I know we're not, but the Cup final is like June the 3rd. So that means the league will be running right to the end of May. So they've got at least the whole month of May to assess what's there, attitude and all that. Because at that time of the year, if you're not playing for anything as well, you'll see the shit attitudes coming out as well. And then they can work with Johnson for then on to what do we need to build? What do we need to get?
Here's a question for you, Colin, right? If you're Ben Kensel and Ron Gordon, would you involve Lee Johnson in the recruitment process of the director of football?
Nah.
Why not?
I think I would involve him when it gets. So I wouldn't get him in the process. You could argue this is a process. I wouldn't involve him at the start of the process because I think they need to set the clear idea, strategy, long-term plan. The manager's not part of the long-term plan, right? They all know they're only here in a medium term at the best, right? So they need to decide what kind of director of football they want. But then you would involve Johnson to see if they could be able to work with each other.
But would you be getting Lee Johnson's input into saying what do you want for a director of football? Like what should a director of football be bringing to the table for us and helping them set those parameters?
Well, I suppose that would possibly. So would that keep the fan base happy? And it's a football guy thinking that argument you get all the time.
Aye.
But then, is it the right football guy? Would they want that manager doing it? Because he could slant it into his way and he'd go, by the way, I know a guy. You know what I mean? And
would it not be to our benefit if he got I guess somebody would be brilliant for this role and I get on with him?
Yeah.
Right. So I suppose you get the conflict of interest a bit further down the line. So like when Craig Levein, as director of football, hired Craig Levein as manager, that was going to end in trouble because although he got on with himself for a wee while, eventually he was going to have a fallout because they're both pricks, aren't they? And then when it did, it was like, can I sack him? Can I know? And they gave him probably more time than he needed. So you do have that sort of conflict of interest that if Johnson was handpicking the guy for it,
he might pick himself.
He might pick himself. There is that risk, but he might bring in somebody that's so close to him that it would make sacking him difficult. But I think actually, and again, it goes back to how much faith the board would have in the manager. But if I was Ben Kensel, and I was going, right, I'm absolutely convinced that Lee Johnson's the right man for us. Where we failed before is not his fault. It's because of the transfers and all the rest of it. Well, we've covered that before. So what I'm going to do is make the environment as strong as I possibly can for this guy as the manager to give him the best possible chance of success. So we want the director of football to help him out. So I'm going to get him involved in it to say what characteristics would work for you as a manager. I mean, it might mean that, I suppose the flaw in that is when Lee Johnson goes, the next guy coming in might not have those lean-ins for it. It might make that relationship difficult. But then I suppose the director of football then is picking the manager, so they pick somebody that they can work with.
I think it needs to be somebody that fits the club's long-term plan. Yeah. And then if that marries up with Johnson's, that's fine. But if it doesn't, I think the club it needs to be the right thing for the club rather than the right thing for Lee Johnson.
I agree with that. Okay, right, next point. I was just curious as we started talking about it. The thought came in. I thought I'll ask you the
Should have kept
question.
That one of the talking points.
We could have done it. James said, get Yuan signed on a permanent and Jago was unstoppable and Egan Riley looked outstanding. Good start from the new boys, but that might just be me. Egan Riley was, I thought, very, very good on the right-hand side, and you can see why Johnson wanted to put him straight in the team. What do you think his performance?
I thought he was all right, aye. Yeah, I think he's a big laddie, big unit. You can see he comes for the English leagues,
Aye, quick.
That's the Burnley way, isn't it?
Aye.
It's the coin of face.
Aye. Lex Loafer said, Jago has been a great signing, nothing flash, but does the basic things very well. We've missed that. Yuan is getting better every week, and we're looking at a far better team since. It looks like LJ is picking the experienced players that are coming in. Long may it continue. Also for Lex, says, I tend to agree, Porto, every time he got the ball, we all got the jitters. I'm loving the sight of Big Fish putting the ball out of the stadium rather than watching a centre-half run 60 yards with the ball, lose it, and we're under pressure because they're out of position.
And of course, the next thing is he'll be getting hammered for his distribution soon, but it's like, just let him defend, man.
Aye, I know.
So it's kicking the ball out of the park, like he's fucking defending, just let him deal with it.
Do you think because we spoke about this on the match earlier on when we were talking about it, and the thing with Poch is having that pressure to play football and be the one that played out for the back, and it maybe took him into situations where we ended up conceding from it, or he lost the ball and berated somebody, that kind of thing. He got a bit of reputation for. When you've got two centre halves that are just going to defend, it does look basic, and we've probably criticised other teams for it. But if it's effective and the players up the top end of the pitch are doing what they need to do, but none of us are giving a fuck, are we? We're all happy with that scenario.
No, yet. That'll come. That's the next phase, eh?
Is it the football be too industrial?
Yes. 100%. It's been there before. Done it before. It's only a year and a half ago.
See, yeah, we'll see. I like to think because of the type of players it's got in the forward areas, they're exciting. It's that pace thing, the pace and a bit of trickery. If we start scoring goals like more than a goal a game regularly, I think folk will forget how the ball's got to the forward players.
Boyle, Nisbet, and Doidge got 50 goals between them that season.
That's true.
Too industrial.
All right, I take it back then. Right, Gaz on Safari said, credit where it's due to LJ. He said he wanted to bin 10 players, which most fans laughed at. He also used the term football IQ, which again was laughed at, but now fans seem to get what he meant and now even use the term. Maybe he does know what he's on about. So we used the football IQ. I don't think we laughed at it. I think we just sort of said, maybe we did a bit of sneering at it. Maybe we were a bit...
Probably did. But we also then referred to it last week talking about McGeady.
I think we knew what he meant for the start. I think actually where we picked him up was the how intelligent it was or how much IQ it displayed to criticise your players that you're relying on and say that they had none. Right, the next one we've got is Colin Simpson says baby steps is going in the right direction. Tom Wallace, formerly TG Willis from off of Twitter, says, lookalike, does the team agree that the ref David Dickinson looks like the Hoff? And he's meaning David Hasselhoff rather than Elias Hoff-Milkerson. And yes, for the two photos, they're on our timeline if you're going to check them out. For the two photos, yes, he does. Archie said that win was a season-deciding victory. We'll be a top six at least. Do you think we are top six now, Colin? No, I don't know today, but do you think that's us secured?
No, we're not secure, but I mean we're comfortable.
I'd be surprised if we didn't get it now. I think we are well positioned for a top six finish. There's not that many games left till the split. Enough for us to fuck it up.
Only
but
2 points ahead of 7th.
Aye, I think we're better than them.
We're well clear of 8th though.
Aye. So. Charlie says it's time to have patience with the manager now too.
Aye. Yep. Cam heads
indeed. Right, let's go see. I think we're almost done. Jeff Ashton says big shout out to defence since the cup game, particularly Fish. They look like a unit, and Jago's certainly part of that. We're certainly moving in the right direction, but far from the finished article. To those fans complaining re boring football, you've never played in 40 mile an hour wind.
Who's complaining about boring football? Is that a thing? Is it?
I don't know. I think there was definitely some gripes about the standard of the game on Saturday. It was a hard watch, like, to be fair, but you could tell it was the conditions. The players did their best with it. AK Arab said still not 100% sold on LJ yet, but credit where it's due. He's cleared out a lot, keeping a bit of consistency with team selections and grinding out results when we need to. Jeff Ashton again, excuse me, says weather, wind spoiled the last 2 games, especially Ross County. Showed great dig to get results we did, and should have been 6 points, not 4. Jago certainly made a difference. CJ looks comfortable, need more time to properly assess. Same for Hoppe. LJ living up to his streaky reputation. It's hard to argue with the streaky reputation bit of it, because he
needs to prove that wrong, doesn't he? He needs to go on a lot, or just have a big fucking long streak.
A big long winning streak. Aye, we'll take that. And then if you're going to lose, just lose the one and then go on another long winning streak.
Like when Rangers got a penalty against them.
I like that when that happens. Ryan Lyle said, CJ, good defender. I'd like to see more coming forward on the overlap. I hope he will do a job when up to speed. Lewis Stevenson, a club legend, and deserves a huge amount of credit for his achievements. One of the nicest guys in football, should have a stand or something named after him. Just on Lewis Stevenson, when we do extra time, which we're going to record in a minute, it's a Lewis Stevenson special. Effectively, we're going to just kind of recognise his achievement, becoming the highest league appearance player for Hibs. So tune in for that. We've got some input from players, the manager, and some other notable people, just to get a reflect on what a guy like Lewis Stevenson is. Including ourselves.
Or us as well.
Just that I was referring to. Ian Murray says, time to give Ian Gordon credit for his excellent player recruitment.
Mm-hmm.
And Ryan Lyle again says, a good win at a tough venue in terrible conditions. Agree with LJ, the bad run wasn't exactly bad performances. Squad is in the middle of an overhaul, so patience is key. Jago does what is needed in the middle. I like what he brings to the team. And that's, well, two more. Disco Stew, solid defensively. Ewan's found his finishing touch. Jago in midfield. We're still extremely boring to watch though. Aberdeen game aside when the players had clearly chucked it. And I think that's where the boring bit maybe came in.
There wasn't 10 men on. It wasn't 10 men we played on Saturday either, was it?
No, 1 against 11, so it's good to get that one in. Glenn Adams said opinion hasn't changed on LJ. He wasn't the problem to begin with. He hasn't been backed well enough in the transfer market and has been unlucky with injuries to big players. Having said that, no Nisbet, Boyle or McCullough yesterday. McCurdy went off early and we found a way to win. Which is excellent.
I'm not sure about the not being backed part, but I'll give him the rest of it.
Paul Mackay said, I only saw the highlights. However, Jimmy Jago looks like a player we've needed for a while, freeing up JN, etc. to go forward. Still not sure about McCurdy though. EY, so Ewan looks a better player in the middle where he has no defensive stuff to do. However, where does Kevin Nisbet fit in that case? So I think if Nisbet's fit, he comes back in, and it's probably McCurdy that drops out and Ewan goes out to the side. McCurdy played well on Saturday. I thought he played well the last couple of games where he's come on. I know he didn't get a rave review in Ross County, but
Bandage back as well, so possibly aided him.
I thought we lost the grip on the game after he went off on Saturday. Right, Audio Dave said, feel like we're still lacking a killer instinct. Failure to finish off games has been hindering our season too often. And George Stewart said, positive, the defence is more comfortable and less on edge now. Porto and his incessant shout is no more. We won't miss him. And last one is for Kenny Murphy. Said, LG has certainly created breathing space. No excuses, though, for a non-top 4 finish this season. With 2 disastrous cup runs, he needs top 4 this season. Get top 4 and deserves next season, and support will back him and the club. I think that's reasonable. Tuesday night, Colin, the young boys are playing Dortmund Champions League. Are you going to head down?
I am. Not got my ticket yet, but I'll get them sorted. Yes, definitely going. Nice way to spend my birthday as well. So that's what we're doing. Yep, definitely going. You going?
I think so. Yep. We're hoping to sit. Well, we have an appointment booked tomorrow to sit down with Steve Keane. So we'll get a bit of a heads up on what's what with the game and development in general, because we've been pushing for this interview for a wee while. So we're heading down to the training centre tomorrow afternoon. We'll sit down with Steve. We'll ask him loads of questions about the development, player pathways, the future of the development team, and what the Champions League is sort of meant to the club as well. So looking forward to that. We'll put it out to subscribers this week, and it will be our Sunday episode for free air listeners on Sunday, because we don't have a match to talk about next week, so that'll go out to replace that. So you won't have long to wait for it if you're not a subscriber. But if you want early access, then of course go to our Twitter, click the link, and you can sign up. Colin, that's us for the night. Thanks very much for your time. We're away to record extra time next. If you want to listen to that, go and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
County line, I pledged upon. Well, they trailed me down when I broke free. I drank all the whiskey in Tennessee. I don't drink water, no.